What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com. Happy New Year to everyone. We are back for the first card of the year, and it was One Championship, back with their Prime Video 6 card. As we know from One Championship, we are getting a lot of different things on this. We have big kickboxing, Muay Thai, mixed rules even, and a lot of mixed martial arts as well. Obviously, I'm going to concentrate on the mixed martial arts today with a look at the mixed rules fight as well. But it's a fun card outside of that. If you're interested in kickboxing, there's two big kickboxing bouts atop this card. Superbon Singha is taking on Allazov, and Superlex is taking on Daniel Puertes as well for the that's for the vacant bantamweight championship, and the lightweight championship is on the line in the other fight I mentioned there. There's a few Muay Thai matchups on this as well. Anna Jornasak is taking on, Ekaterina Vandereva, and loads more outside of that as well. Rodtang is on this card, who I'm sure a lot of MMA fans came to know last year when he took on Demetrius Johnson, but I'm sure a lot of martial arts fans, I suppose, would know him outside of that. He's so exciting and very, very good to watch. And Mikey Musumeci as well is grappling here. And, you know, as someone who, I'm an MMA purist, if you want to put it that way. I like MMA, and outside of that, I take it or leave it, but I'm starting to enjoy these more. I think a lot of it as well is, I'm going into these cards, and I'm sure a lot of you are doing the same. It's like, there's one championship card on, maybe DJ's fighting, maybe, Angela Lee is fighting or something like that. I'll go on and watch it, and then there's a kickboxing match or a Muay Thai match or a Jiu-Jitsu match on before or after it, and you just happen to watch it. And it's enjoyable. Like, it really, really is. That's one thing I must say that I've been surprised with, I think, for One Championship, that I've actually enjoyed the other aspects of martial arts a lot more in, I'd say, the last year than I have in a long time. I remember when I started getting into MMA, I watched a lot of them. I watched a lot of kickboxing. I watched a lot of grappling, especially as well, and kind of coming away up in the old media journey. But it's a thing that I've kind of left by the wayside. And look, I think a lot of people probably have, just because there's so much MMA. It's impossible to keep up. Like, I was thinking about it there over the holiday period. I was doing my recap. I probably missed one of them, but like UFC, Cage Warriors, One Championship, PFL, Bellator. Like, I've watched I'd say maybe, I'll be honest, I didn't watch New Year's Eve card. I'm like, I hate New Year's Eve cards. I think it's the worst time to have a card. But apart from those, I think I saw every card for all of those promotions all year. Now, I mightn't have seen every fight. I mightn't have got in for every prelim, but that's a lot of fights. That's a lot of Friday, Saturday nights. And, with PFL as well, sometimes Wednesday or Thursday or whatever it is. That's a lot of time to be putting into MMA. And I'm covering it, so it's grand for me. But I'm sure a lot of the people just watching it as casual fans, but as the hardcore fans as well, it's a lot of time. And to be able to devote some of that time to kickboxing or grappling as well, unless you do it yourself, is probably a no-go. So the fact that One Championship put it on their cards, it makes it a little bit easier, and it makes it a little bit more, I suppose, palatable to the fan who wants to catch a bit of that. So that's great, and I've enjoyed it. I'm interested to see, actually, just as we kind of look ahead to the year, I suppose, here, the One Lumpini cards are coming up as well here, and it's going to be a lot of I think that's all striking and stuff as well. So that's probably, those are probably ones that I say a lot of MMA fans maybe won't be watching, or maybe avoid, or maybe do watch one and then they get into it and they continue. I'm sure that's what One Championship will be trying to do here. So far, it seems on their rota, it's all one on Prime Video cards this year. So last year they were doing a numbered card with a one on Prime Video card, which I absolutely loved, to be honest, when it was timed right. I really, really liked it. I think they should go back to that. No. Will they go back to that? It doesn't look like they're doing that, but the start of last year they didn't do that either, because the one on Prime came in. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think One are kind of at a stage at the moment where they're kind of moving everything around. They're getting things settled. They're getting things kind of set up, I suppose, as they go to America, and as this this prime adventure, I suppose, continues. So I think it's very, very interesting, and we'll see, I suppose, where it goes over the next year or so. But first of all, one on Prime 6 is an interesting card. And I'm going to talk about some of the mixed martial arts bouts on it right now. And do you know what? Before I get into the mixed martial arts bout, let's talk about the mixed rules match between Nong Stamp Fairtex and Anissa Meksen. So anyone who listens to my One Championship previews knows I'm a big fan of Stamp. I love her style, her attitude, the fact that like she came over from the Muay Thai, started knocking people out, then started getting a couple of submissions, looks really, really good. Now, obviously she came in there and she lost to Angela Lee. Her last performance I don't think was the best performance in the world, but I think she will get back to the very, very top in mixed martial arts. And I think she'll eventually win a title. She's still young in the sport as well, in terms of the amount of fights she's had. And I think it's very interesting to see her journey and where she goes. And I think it's very interesting the fact that One Championship are putting one of their big prospects, who seems to have turned into a name, and a name that people, are looking forward and wanting to watch in MMA. And I think it's interesting they're putting her into a match like this. Like Demetrius, a little bit different, or Rodtang, they've had their careers now at this stage, and everything that they're doing is great. It's a bonus, I suppose, but it's not like you're adjusting your game in terms of how you're learning that game. Obviously, you have to adjust your game, but in terms of on the way up and putting it all together, whereas you could not say the same for Stamp Nong here. So I think that's an interesting thing. I don't know whether I like it or I don't like it. What I do know is I like the fight, so I'm not going to give out about it at all. And it's not, I wouldn't give out about it anyway, but I think it's an interesting thing. Like, if you're a fighter, if you're a gym, if you're a coach, if you're one of those people, I'm sure there's a thought in this, right? It's fun. It's a good challenge. I'm sure you're earning a good bit of money out of it. But is it the right decision to make for your career and your future? I think that's an interesting thing for the fighter, the coach, and all to do. And that's why I think like there hasn't been many of these. I think this is only the second one in recent times anyway. I would like to see more. I was talking to my guy Harry Williams, who's working with One Championship at the moment there yesterday, and he was kind of saying, oh yeah, there's a few different people interested in doing it. And I was like, I'd love to see two MMA fighters doing it. Now we have here Meksen, who is a Muay Thai fighter against Stamp, who used to be in Muay Thai absolutely, but is MMA now. I would love to see Saldich going in there against another MMA fighter, or two, whoever it might be, two MMA fighters fighting the mixed rules. I think when it is the mixed rules and it is one Muay Thai fighter and one MMA fighter, you kind of know what's happening. One is waiting for the second round and all that. We'll talk about that now more in a second, I suppose, but I'd love to see two MMA fighters out. Anyway, let's talk about it. The fight itself. So it's hard to find the rules of this, but I think what it is, I asked two people and they both said the same. So 4 3-minute rounds, first round Muay Thai, second round MMA, third round Muay Thai, fourth round MMA. So this is a very different one from the Rodtang Demetrius one, I think, where it was Demetrius fighting hard, but also the second you knew it was going to the second round, Demetrius is probably going to take him down and submit him or beat him, in that round. I think this is a little bit different in that, like, I feel like, and especially after watching Stamp in her last fight, I feel like it's not going to be one of those ones where the second it gets to the second round, Stamp is going to be going for takedowns and going to be trying to take Anissa Meksen down. I maybe I'm wrong. No, maybe I'm wrong. And she would be smart to do that. And 100% I could be wrong. But I just that's my feeling, and I'll get into how they fight and their the way they fight and stuff here in a second. But that's kind of just the way I feel about that matchup now as we look at it here a week out or so. I think the first round is going to be very interesting because the first round is Muay Thai, right? And you're thinking, okay, Stamp is an MMA fighter and she's fighting Anissa Meksen, but Stamp has loads of experience Muay Thai, fought a good bit of kickboxing. I was watching her fights there yesterday in the stand-up arts, and do you know the one thing I would say is Stamp fights very differently as a Muay Thai practitioner as she does an MMA fighter. Very, very differently. Much slower, much more trying to be much more precise and everything like that. And I think it's very, very interesting to see how that works out. So I suppose to get into their games here a second, and we'll talk more about the fight. First on Meksen, she's never fought in MMA as far as I know. Apparently she's 6 years of judo training, which I'm sure, look, it'll help. Anything will help in this sort of occasion. But very good Muay Thai fighter, extremely accurate. Her jab is unbelievable. Her lead head kick is really good. Extremely quick leg kicks. She opens up. Her kicks open up punches. That'll be the one thing you'd say about her. She throws lots of kicks everywhere, especially the legs, and it opens up her punches. That left hook is absolutely amazing. She's at her best when someone stands back and lets her attack. Now, when I talk about stamp fighting a slower game in the stand-up realm, as opposed to the stand-up in MMA, I don't think that plays well against Meksen. So that's first round, I think, is going to be very, very interesting. If Stamp fights the way she fights in Muay Thai and kickboxing, where it's more of a steady back foot start again, that'll play right into Meksen's hands. Right into Meksen's hands. And I suppose then is the case is, can she knock her out in the first round? I suppose we'll see. But Stamp, as I said, a lot slower by design in Muay Thai, but a lot about power as well. And it's not like, it's weird. I was thinking about how I'll explain this, but I don't think it's about like knockout power. But instead of just like landing, her Muay Thai shots are all about landing with power. It's almost as if, there's a heat meter in all of them, and you get more points for landing more power, and you should in mixed martial arts. But you know what I mean? Her kicks to the body are absolutely vicious when she's fighting in Muay Thai. Very good at landing the right hand. Especially, do you know one thing as well? Watching her in a couple of Muay Thai fights, she's longer than you think as well, and she can reach in and hit people with that straight right as they get away, which would be very interesting here against Meksen if she's going forward and trying to get away from her. Very fast leg kicks. Now in MMA, it'll be interesting to see. Look, she's confident off her back. We've seen that. She's a very good athlete. That's the one thing you'd say about Stamp as well. Such a good athlete. She almost strangled Rito Fogat before armbarring her. So she has submissions. She has the ability to finish the fight on the ground, which could be very big trouble for Meksen if it goes there. Now the fight, as I said, how it'll play out. The first round, I think it's going to be a slower pace Stamp and Meksen coming onto her and trying to knock her out. I really do. Now Meksen is very accurate and she hits hard, but she doesn't have loads of knockouts. She's not the biggest knockout artist in the world, and she's not in here fighting, an MMA fighter who's doing Muay Thai for the first time. So I do think Stamp will get through that. The most interesting round, as I said, is the second round, because will it be go straight across the cage, which you think it should be, right, for an MMA fighter? And maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm absolutely wrong now. I don't think she will. I just don't think she will, and that to me changes the whole dynamic of the fight. If she goes straight across the cage, tries to take her down and does take her down, look, she'd probably submit her, I would say. It'll depend on Anissa as well, how good her judo game is, I suppose, and how good her takedown defense is. It'll all depend on that, absolutely. But if she can take her down, that could be the end of it. But if she can, not even if she can, if she chooses not to, it's a very different ball game from them, because you're probably talking about 4 rounds, you're probably talking about a decision, or you're probably talking about someone taking a lot of damage there, and it'll be interesting. Very, very interesting. Because if you think about it as well, it's 3 4-minute rounds, so 4 3-minute rounds, so 12 minutes altogether, which is less than an MMA fight, obviously. So I'd be interested to see. I'm very interested to see the pace. That's one thing when I watch these MMA or kickboxing bouts, or Muay Thai bouts. Sorry, it's the length of the rounds and their ability to go harder in them is one thing I find astonishing, especially later on. And I think the fact that the mixed rules makes you fight harder earlier actually changes that dynamic too. And it's a thing, obviously, we've only seen twice, so we don't know the right tactics, I suppose, yet. Well, Demetrius went out and showed us the right tactics, I suppose, but the right long-term tactics. I'm very interested, I said, in this fight. I'll give my predictions for the fight. I'm going to go with, do you know what? I don't know who I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for Meksen. I'm going to go for Meksen to win the decision. I think Stamp will stand with her, and I think Meksen's a better stand-up fighter. So I'm going to go with Anissa Meksen, which you shouldn't really in a mixed martial arts, half a mixed martial arts bout. But like, this could be the case as well as maybe I'll change my pick here. But like, what if you get to the 4th round and you're 3 rounds down, your Stamp, and you've stood for the whole 3 rounds? Obviously, 2 of them having to. Do you change it up and go for the submission then, or try to get the fight to the ground then? Again, if you're smart and you're fighting the right game plan, yes. But is Stamp gonna do that? I don't know. I feel like no. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna go with Meksen. Right, let's move on to the next couple of fights here. Aung is fighting Gilberto Galvao. As we saw, Aung last time out beat Yushin Okami and looked good, But the fight before that, it was an interesting one. He fought Big Dash, got taken down immediately. We know about Aung Lasang. He's been around for a long time. He's a good guillotine, very accurate striker, great uppercut. That straight right, he calls it the steel pipe. That's his main weapon, a beautiful shot. Been throwing a lot more kicks recently. Fights at a bit of a slower pace than he used to before, and I think that is because of that that big steel pipe, that big weapon he has. When he throws too much, though, he does get taken down at times, and as we saw against Big Dash, that was an issue for him, but he never gives up on the ground. He carries a lot of power late as well. Fighting Gilberto Galvao here, hasn't fought in 4 years, and watching him, he's an absolute bear of a man. Now, I didn't look up his Instagram or anything like that here, but if he's carrying the same sort of power, if he's carrying the same sort of muscle, this will be a very, very interesting fight. He's so strong, absolutely throws people around. BJJ black belt. He throws these big. He's funny, right? I've never seen a fighter actually. Well, I suppose I have a bit, but he throws these big winging punches, right? Just these, Paddy Pimblett type of punches. But then he throws straight punches right down the middle, and they look phenomenal. And you're thinking, and they hurt people, and they have power on them. And you're thinking to yourself, he's throwing these big winging hooks, and if one of them land, okay, you could knock someone out. But they take away his gas tank, and they're not half as good as the straight punches. Like, why is he throwing them? Why is he throwing them? Like, I think he's one of these guys. If he comes out and like goes straight down the middle and throws a jab and throws a right hand behind it or a left hand behind it, depending on which stance he's standing at that second, he'll knock people out. He'll knock a lot of people out with that power. He's serious power. And if he doesn't, he'll move you back, push you against the cage and take you down because he's really good body locks and stuff like that. Look, the issue with him with that much muscle as well, and I've seen it, and it's not just because of the muscle, because sometimes that's overplayed, but you look at these fights and he does gas out, he does get tired, and with 4 years away, that'll be interesting. Look, I think for Aung Lasang, it's, you do 2 things here, right? You don't get taken down, or you do get taken down and you survive. And you survive and you survive and you survive until Galvao gets tired, and then you release the big shots and now try to knock him out. Will Aung Lasang get submitted early in this fight? I don't know. It's an interesting one. Like, he is getting on now as well, 37 years of age, and he's had over 40 fights at this stage. Like, he got choked up with Rene the Ritter back in 2020, but before that, like, has he ever been back in 2012? So like, it's a long time. He's not a guy who gets choked out or anything like that very often, or gets gets submitted a few times, obviously, in his career, early days and things. But I'm very interested to see how this fight goes early. I find it hard. I find it very hard to predict. Look, I think Galvao will get a takedown early, but as I said as well, and I must not forget here in my notes, Aung Lasang is very good at surviving those sort of moments, and I think he can survive and he will survive, and I do think Galvao will get tired. And because Aung Lasang takes the power late, I think I might win him the fight. So I'm going to go for Aung Lasang in that one. Maybe like a 3rd round stoppage or something like that. There you go. The next couple of fights then are interesting. Garry Tonon is back here after losing to Tan Lee for the championship. He's fighting Johnny Nunez. Now, very interesting watching Johnny Nunez. Hasn't fought since 2019. NCAA wrestler. Not great off his back and can be taken down. I watched a couple of fights he was taken down. Very muscular, very strong. I don't know how to put this, but terrible striking is in my notes here now. It's 3 years since he fought, 4 years nearly. Maybe he's improved an awful lot. Maybe it's a lot different, but at the time, watching him back in 2018, 2019, just lunges in and tries to fall into takedowns. Absolutely no striking at all. Just really bad. And he's one of those fighters. I don't want to be harsh. I don't like saying bad things about MMA fighters at all. Who am I to say? But I couldn't see anything good about him. Like, even when he got fights to the ground, not massive ground. At times, but not massive ground amount. Not the best wrestler in the world in MMA. Bad striker, bad off his back, not great jiu-jitsu. But he's had a lot of time to improve, right? A lot of time to improve. Garry Tonon on the other side then is the exact opposite. If you, I was thinking about it. If you didn't know who Garry Tonon was in terms of a jiu-jitsu player, you'd think this guy is just a really good top prospect MMA fighter, a very good striker. Obviously he goes for, he was good at jiu-jitsu. He goes for the old ankle locks and he tries to pull guard and stuff like that. But his striking is very good, fighting out of southpaw, but varied, switches stances, moves around an awful lot, makes it hard for you to hit him. Obviously, as I said, he fought Tan Le last time. Tan Le is one of the best in the world in that division. And I truly believe that. He's right up there. And he knocked him out, one of the best knockouts of 2022. In a very unfortunate way, and it shows like you can't do that sort of jiu-jitsu in MMA. I think, I've been saying that for years and people are, I think, finally starting to listen. But anyway, but that doesn't mean he's not a good fighter. He lost to a very, very good fighter, 6-7 fights into his career. I think this will be an easy night for him. Honestly, I think, look, his jiu-jitsu got him knocked out the last time. And I think his jiu-jitsu will get him a knockout this time. I think he's going to land big shots. Like, what's Nunez going to do? Take him down? Well, best of luck with that. Best of luck with that. And I think Tonon is a far superior striker. So, Garry Tonon via knockout on defeat here. Honestly, okay, maybe he'll be able to get a takedown. Maybe Nunez will go for a takedown. Maybe able to pull guard and it'll be a submission. And look, that's likely, I would say, knowing what Garry Tonon is. But I don't know, but just watching these two fighters and the way they fight, I think Tonon should just keep it standing, and I think he'll knock him out. I really, really do. So that's my prediction, Garry Tonon knockout. And last MMA fight in this card is my guy, Kim Woong, against Shoko Sato. You know what, anyone who listens to these previews as well, know I'm a fan of Kim. I love the way he fights, solid jab and footwork. Great head movement, powerful right hand. He slept Martin Nguyen. He can be taken down, and that's, I suppose, his biggest issue, but he's unbelievable counter power. And he's a guy who, he baits you. He baits you. He'll just wait in the pocket and wait. Not even in the pocket, a step inside the pocket. And like, come on, hit me, boom. And you're knocked out. Next thing you're waking up seeing lights, That's the type of fighter that Kim Woong is. Now, Shoko Sato is a similarly intelligent type of fighter, I would say. Not a similar fighter, but a similarly intelligent. He's more rangy and more of a back foot fighter. Do you know what? One thing he does that I love, he acts like he's fighting you all the time just to kind of draw you in. So both of these guys, that's the similarity I drew between them. They love drawing people in. Like, give them a false sense of security. Oh, yeah. Come on, I'm here. And then boom. He moves very quickly and throws, like it's funny, he throws soft and not too soft, like maybe 30% or something like that. Throws, and then boom, 100%. Really hard. It's funny, and like Kim is a little bit different. He doesn't throw a lot of, I guarantee you if you put their numbers together, I think Sato would probably 5 times the amount of numbers. But the power numbers are probably very similar in terms of the 100% power numbers, because they both love to unleash that big shot. And it makes for an exciting fight. The one thing with Sato, he can get countered when he's going slower. When he's throwing those lots of shots, and that's the difference between Kim, is he doesn't really get hit that much throwing. He might get hit a bit or taken down a bit when he puts himself in that position that you wouldn't normally like to be in, I suppose. But he isn't a guy who gets hit thrown unless it's one of the big shots, whereas Sato is. Now, who'll win that battle? Honestly, this is a fight I really don't know who will win. Someone's going to land a bigger shot and get put away, I think. And if they don't, it could be a very, very close 15 minutes. For that reason, because I think both of them are really intelligent, it could be a very close 15 minutes. And for that reason, I'll go with Sato. I'll be interested maybe for the betting show when it comes out. I'm recording this a good bit before the betting show will come out to see the lines. Now, if the lines are a lot different, we'll see. Maybe I'll adjust that pick, so I'll tune into the betting show for that. But I'm going to go for Sato. I'm going to go for Sato as the picker. Really looking forward to this fight. I think it's going to be a very intelligent fight. It could be one that has a big knockout, but it also could be just, 15 minutes on the edge of your seat waiting for it as well. And that's always fun. That's always fun. All right, that is it for the MMA on this card. Obviously, there's a good bit of Muay Thai and stuff like that as well. My guy Mikey Musumeci and the old grappling as well. So a lot for everyone to start off the year. Appreciate everyone tuning into my stuff over the holiday period and all the last year and going into this year as well. Couldn't do it without you, so thanks very much. If you want to leave a comment, if you want to give a like, let me know what you think. And I'll leave it there. I'll be back obviously with more videos this week, next week, and into the year of 2023. I'll leave it there. My name is Sheehan for Sherdog.com, and I'll see you all next time.